All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Raiders Daily. All right, this offseason has started off with a bang. We had previous reports that not too much is going to happen on the Raider front, and it, to be honest with you, has been quite the contrary. Recently, it started with a Jimmy G signing for a handful of seasons, right? Earlier today, we saw Jacoby Myers get signed to the Las Vegas Raiders, and then a couple of hours ago, we saw tight end Darren Waller get traded away. I have to say, I love the offseason for the Raiders. I seriously think this team is set up in the proper direction. And while it might not be this upcoming season, which it still remains to be seen, keep in mind the Raiders have the 7th pick. They have, in general, a ton of draft capital. They actually still have money to spend in free agency. I understand the previous concerns for like the past 25, 20 years or so for, the Raiders franchise. You can't judge Dave Ziegler and this team on the last 25 years. It's unfair and it just simply doesn't work out like that. I was watching a video earlier today and this YouTube commenter literally blamed the Darren Waller trade on Josh McDaniels, and that was my final straw. It was my final straw because I made a video earlier today speaking why trading Darren Waller made all the sense in the world. Here is a stone cold factual statement. Darren Waller, in his long NFL career, has had 2 successful seasons. You've heard that correctly. 2 successful seasons. All right. And those 2 successful seasons were 3 and 4 years ago. He came into the league overlooked, didn't get an opportunity, finally started to break out for the Raiders, and he made a Pro Bowl, and he had 2 good seasons, and in the last 2 years, he's shit the bed. That is a cold, hard fact. Jimmy G, proven winner. Jimmy Garoppolo is a literal proven winner. And we know Jimmy G, he's not Tom Brady. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have an arm of a cannon. He doesn't have the pinpoint accuracy of some of the greats. It doesn't matter. Jimmy Garoppolo knows how to play within a system. I get it. Josh McDaniels was not the best head coach last season. Let's call a spade a spade. The Raiders were not the best team last season. On paper, the Raiders weren't 6-11. All right, they had a phenomenal offense, but if we're just continuing to keep it a buck, Derek Carr played like crap. Derek Carr did not have a good season whatsoever. When your quarterback of 8+ seasons does not have a good year and is expecting his contract to be guaranteed $40+ million, and he doesn't do good at all in the slightest. In fact, he doesn't move the ball off. He doesn't move the ball past the 50-yard line against the New Orleans Saints. What do you do to him? If you have the option, what do you do to him? Bye-bye. See ya. Good riddance and good luck, but we're all set, all right? The Raiders currently don't have a starting quarterback as far as the future is concerned, but we have a starting quarterback for at least 3 seasons, and his name is Jimmy Garoppolo. He has a ton of playoff experience. He has critical playoff experience, and he is a proven regular season and postseason winner when in the right system. And he has a previous tenure with Josh McDaniels and the New England Patriots in general. I don't get the frustration. Jacoby Myers, borderline wide receiver 1. A quite literal borderline wide receiver 1 gets signed to a 3-year contract worth a little over $30 million, and it gets ridiculed. And Josh McDaniels somehow gets to blame. I get it. I'm not a huge fan of the way Josh McDaniels coached this team this past year, but you can't blame it all on your head coach. That is called a scapegoat. Every losing team has a scapegoat, at least one scapegoat. And Josh McDaniels was the one this past year. And I'll keep it a buck once again. Derek Carr did not play good. The defense was not good. All right. The good news is those things can change, and those things are changing. The Raiders have made a handful of defensive moves to just get younger, to get more athletic, to have a higher potential. This Raiders team this upcoming year, as the roster is set right now, is not ready to take down the defending champions in the Kansas City Chiefs. And the fact is, that's perfectly fine. They don't need to. That's perfectly fine. People need to stop viewing franchises in 1 year stretches. You want to win. Yes, everybody wants to win. But what you want to do is you want to win in the long term. The Raiders probably won't take a quarterback at pick number 7. The good news is they have a bunch of draft picks to improve their defense, to improve the tight end room, to improve the offensive line, to take a quarterback like Hendon Hooker in the 4th round who is 25 years old. He's thrown 5 interceptions in the last 2 years, and an important fact is he was in the SEC, which is the best conference in college football. Hendon Hooker can come in if need be, or it can be any quarterback. It doesn't matter because you have Jimmy G right now. All right, Jimmy G, when healthy, will win you football games. That's a fact. All right, Jakobi Meyers is a borderline wide receiver 1. Don't even get me started on Darren Waller. As much as every Raider fan is rooting for Darren Waller because his story from the beginning of his football career is inspirational. It's inspiring. But at the end of the day, Darren Waller has barely played football for the Raiders in the last 2 seasons. It's a fact. And he got signed to an extension. So what did they do? They flipped it for a 3rd round pick number 100 in the league, and you saved, in general, at the end of the day, several years down the line, you saved $40 million. I have a hard time believing why that is an issue. Foster Moreau had more receiving yards than Darren Waller this past year. This tight end class is loaded. The draft class is loaded, and by the way, at the time of this recording, we're 2 days into free agency. No tight end move has been made. Hayden Hurst is out there. Dalton Schultz is out there. Robert Tonyan's out there. There are plenty of free agent tight ends out there, and the draft is loaded. I struggle to find the issue with this. It's like we made the playoffs 2 years ago, not necessarily out of luck, but it was not sustainable. You want to win. Yes, we all want to win. But we want to sustainably win football games. We want to sustainably win in the long run. And that's exactly what this Raiders team is doing. And we're only 2 days in at the time of this recording. They've made a couple of nice defensive moves, more low-key moves. They've gotten Jimmy Garoppolo, they've gotten Jakobi Meyers, and they've traded away Darren Waller, who was on a horrible contract for the way his production has been in the last 2 years, and he's had 2 good years in his NFL career. I get it. If he's healthy, he's good. Last 2 years, he hasn't been healthy. So what's the issue, and why is Josh McDaniels to blame? Let's give Dave Ziegler, let's give Josh McDaniels the benefit of the doubt, and we'll move on. I don't understand all the pessimism, and I will say this. It's like a 10% of the fan base that it's the outspoken minority that is having all these issues with it. The Raiders are making moves right now to win in the long run. And if you have an excellent draft, if you even have an above average draft this upcoming year, this Raiders team long term is much better than we were last year. You have Devontae Adams, you have Josh Jacobs, you have a winning quarterback, you're making the moves on defense, you have the 7th pick. I don't know what the issue is. This team is tricking the league, and they're even tricking their own fan base. They're tricking the frustrated last 20 years, which is completely understandable fan base. The bottom line is this: it's a new regimen, it's a new coach, it's a new GM, it's a new team, and it's going to be for the benefit. So give them the benefit of the doubt, and let's see what happens. That's today's rant. Hit the like button, hit that sub button, and I will see you guys later for daily Raiders content.